Welcome to Saint-Tropez, welcome to the Rolex Giraglia 70. It is in fact the 70th edition of the longest offshore regatta of the longest living regatta of the Mediterranean. With me today, my colleague and friend James Boyd. James, welcome. He is the editor, actually, he does all the writings for the International Maxi Association, but other than that, he is a very knowledgeable sailing journalist. So I am very pleased that you are here with me today, James. Are you happy to be here?
Oh, it's lovely. Well, I'm sitting outside in Saint-Tropez. Fortunately, the rain which we had last night has all gone through. We have a nice sunny day, and we're on the Côte d'Azur. What's not to like? And we have a fantastic yacht race starting very shortly.
It's actually, we can see the boats, the fleet right behind us. Yeah. And well, we'll quickly go through a little change that has happened last night with the offshore regatta, the race course. Instead of being 241 mile long, it's actually reduced to 215. And instead of going south after the start right behind us, they'll go slightly northeast towards La Chrétienne, I think. And then I would say east, southeast towards Giraglia Rock, the legendary rock, and just north of Corsica, and then up straight to Genoa. Why this change?
Well, traditionally they have to go around the easternmost of the Ile des Airs, which basically takes the fleet to the west, and then they do a big turn and head off to the Giraglia Rock. But this year they've got some military exercises which are going on there, so they've had to do a slight change of course. So instead of going sort of south-west, they're going southeast, or they're going east along the coast. So, and I think that will also help because I think the competitors will welcome that, because the conditions were looking extremely light for the first few hours of the race, and now they don't have to make what is effectively backward progress down the course before they can actually turn their bow towards Giraglia. So I think it's a benefit from all round. So I think we should thank the military in France.
You think the teams should thank them?
Yeah.
But yes, it's going to be a light first couple of hours, probably light up until to the Giraglia Rock. And it's going to be mostly an upwind year, right?
Well, I think it will depend very much on where you are in the fleet. There's some very big wind in what they call the Gulf de Lion, which is to Marseille, and there's also a lot of wind to the east of Sardinia, and we're in this sort of area between. And so it really depends on weather systems are moving as to what kind of wind and what strength of wind and what wind direction the boats will see. So I think this will be a race where the leaders will probably see very different conditions from the
rest of the fleet.
Well, from the boats in the middle of the fleet and also at the end. So
I think we might have three different situations.
I think I think every boat will probably have its own. We're seeing from the weather maps that if you're in one place, you can be becalmed, but 2 hours later, the boats which kind of come through will have 20 knots. So it's going to be a very strange race.
While we're talking, they're showing the preparation happening this morning on the docks. It's always nice to be on the docks the day before start of an offshore regatta, don't you think, James? I mean, there's a lot of excitement going on.
No, exactly. There's always anticipation because you never quite know how long it's going to take you. And also with this one, normally with these races, you can tell if it's going to be light or if it's going to be heavy. And if it's a light race, you tend to you may actually get ruthless and get rid of some crew and try to make your boat as light as possible. But I think with this one, I think people have been taking a different, each boat has been taking its own view.
Yes.
Which has been
what
fun.
I know for sure, because as you know, I got some insights.
You have?
Yes, I do. So in the 72 fleet, one boat especially, Vesper is going to go with only 15 sailors, only one grinder, and they're going with a Code Zero, a jib, and a Gennaker. That's it.
And no food.
No, they're taking food for sure. It's going to last about 24 hours, they think. A slightly different approach on Cannonball. They're going 18 people on board, so probably they're going to take a couple of grinders more, I guess. And we'll see. I mean, they were thinking that maybe from Giraglia up to Genoa, it will be a little windier, but they want to be as fast as they can and get rid of anybody else and go straight to Giraglia.
Yeah, but this race is notorious for having some major hurdles. And the arrival in Genoa is classically the biggest one. And I think basically, generally, if you arrive in the afternoon with a sea breeze, you're lucky. And if you don't arrive then, you can park for many, many hours. And
We've seen that.
Well, we saw that last year actually with the first two boats. They had a boat called Arca SGR, which is doing the race again this year, and she was the fastest boat on handicap in the race, and she led all the way. And then Magic Carpet, who obviously is extremely experienced doing this race, they've won it overall. They won Lion Honours in the past. Saw what was going on. They changed sides of the course and then slipped past them just literally in the final mile. So it was a real.
How frustrating must have that been?
Exactly, yeah. But so this is one of those races where it's really good to be following.
Yes. So how many Giraglia have you followed?
I've actually definitely lost count, but I think my first ones were in the 1990s, and then I was definitely here for a few in the 2000s when. And then it's great to see it evolve. I mean, it originally was obviously just an offshore race, and then they added when Rolex came on board as sponsor, they added the inshore series.
Races,
and then since then they've obviously added the feeder race from San Remo, which obviously gets all the Italian boats here.
Yeah.
So it's great to see it evolve.
Have you ever done it on a boat, like as a sailor?
Metaphorically, yes. I've been following them in spirit, but I've never actually done the race myself. No.
It's about time you do it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I can say that about a lot of races, sadly.
So James and I are not alone in this journey. We have people out there to help us and to see and transmit with their own eyes what they see. So we actually have Bacci del Buono. He's on ITA 102. It's, I think it's an IRC 0, but Maxi 2. So they're just slightly smaller boats compared to the big ones.
The important thing, I mean, obviously, it's a boat which is effectively the boat of the Yacht Club Italiano.
Yes, so it is.
They have a lot of youngsters on board, and it's a beautiful campaign which the owner, Mr. Calvini, has set up. And they obviously have the advantage that they've won the maxi class in the two last editions of the race. So everyone's going, oh no, they're a small boat, they're sailed by a youth crew, but they've actually done incredibly well.
Yeah, and Bacci's on board there. Can we talk to him? Bacci, can you hear us? Ah, there you are.
Yeah, ciao Rachele. Hi guys, how you doing there?
We're good, but I'm sure you're better than us. I mean, tell us, where are you?
Yeah, actually Rachele, yesterday we were together there, and you can trust me when I say that here is amazing. It's really amazing, a little bit better than stay on the land. But however, yes, I said I'm here on ITA 102. At my back, there are all the crew that have a crew speech. Actually, they are talking about how to do the start, of course. And actually, so after now, I have really to go to.
You have to do the job.
Tell you, minute by minute, all the moment of the start of this amazing race. I'm so happy to be here, and actually, the climax here is really relaxed. So the thing is that the lights, there is a light wind breeze, so everyone is just waiting for the countdown, and that's it for now.
Yeah, but what's the strategy? Tell us something we don't know, what they want to do. What's the plan?
Actually, you know what? They are talking about that now.
Okay.
And I'm here, so I'm not asking, I'm not listening to them, but I guess that the strategy will be based on the other boat, actually. So now they are just talking about who is doing what on board. Actually, they are a team that worked together for since long time, actually. But you know, I'm a new entry. There are some other new entry, and in this moment, after that, I will let them talk to you, and I will present a little bit of my team today to you. You're welcome. And
Bacci,
so now you can.
Yeah. What are you doing on board other than reporting?
So I will not be like your husband, but I'm in the same position in the front. I'm the number one.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I do. Actually, not like you, because on the dock I heard that he's the best ever. They say, but do you know Matteo? They say, yeah, he's the best ever. So I'm not like him, but I will try to do that.
Yeah, I will talk to your team when you're back in Genoa and see what they say. Grazie, Bacci. We'll get back to you when it's the start time.
Thank you.
So James, lucky him. Huh?
Lucky him, exactly. Yeah, well, he's doing bowman. He's a bowman. So
he's the bowman.
He doesn't have quite the same physique as your husband, though.
Well,
no one does.
I will take that.
Yeah.
Nice. Other than Baci, we have on the water another sailing champion from Yacht Club Italiano. His name is Matteo Capurro. He's done the 470 campaign, so I think he's done a couple at least. Great guys, and he's going to be on a rib, so he's going to be right at the start, so it can be our eyes from there. Do we have Matteo? Still not.
Yeah.
So, oh yes, I see him actually. Ciao Matteo. Ciao, how are you? Cannot hear us yet, but we can see him. He's enjoying the situation.
I think it'd probably be quite a good day to be an Olympic dinghy sailor, because it's all going to be about seeing what's on the water and eyes out of the boat, as they say. So I think being is he talking to us?
No, I don't think, not yet.
Yeah.
No. So yes, it would be nice to do this on a dinghy, but a bit long.
Well, I think with dinghy experience, I don't think I'd like to do it on a dinghy, Marichelli, but certainly that sort of experience will really help you today, because it's going to be, I think it wouldn't surprise me when the wind goes lightly, we'll see people at the masts sort of spotting for wind.
Yeah, probably.
Sort of stuff like that.
But there are plenty of dinghy sailors.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, and lots of medalists.
Yeah, lots of medalists. Yeah.
I think one right off my head.
Sta chiamando, ciao Matteo, ciao Matteo.
So, like for instance,
good morning, everybody.
So
we are on the starting line. We have 5 knots from 80 degrees. Very light wind.
Who's on that boat? Do we
know?
Blackjack?
Yeah, well, Blackjack is a very interesting campaign, because it's come all the way from Australia. This boat it's owned by a guy called Peter Harburg, who's from Australia, and it's done lots of racing down in Australia, the Sydney Hobarts and all the big circuit down there. It's got a largely Australian crew, although some Kiwis have crept on board as well.
They're on every boat.
They get everywhere, don't they? And so Peter shipped the boat up to the Mediterranean. It's basically got a really extensive program happening here, but they're not used to these conditions. So, they're used to Sydney Hobart, where it's sort of minimum is 20 knots.
Windy and wavy.
Windy and wavy, and they come here and there's no wind, and it requires an entirely different mindset.
Oh, we've got a friend here.
Yes.
Big one.
A big friend, yeah, exactly. But anyway, so the boat is interesting because it used to be Esmit Europa 2, which set the record for this particular course in 2012 with a
still the record to beat.
Yeah, just under 15 days, and it stood for a long time. 2012, that's 11 years.
And it's 14 hours, 56 minutes, some
exactly,
seconds.
just under 15 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And in fact, when Esmit broke the record, it was actually held by that same boat when it was Alfa Romeo from.
Tactician on board was Jochen Schumann, who's today on Magic Carpet Square.
You're all over it, aren't you?
He is all over.
Yeah, exactly.
And well, I spoke to him yesterday, and what he told me is that to break the record, you need to have the conditions, not just a boat. So it's not going to be a record year.
I don't think so. I got some information from Blackjack this morning where they're saying that it's going to take 23 hours. So that's not even close to under 15, sadly.
No. So let me ask our director's room if we have Matteo Capurro. We do? Matteo, can you hear us? We can see you very well.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Raquel.
Good morning.
We are here on the starting line, the port side. We have a very light wind, only 5 knots from 80 degrees. Maybe on the right side we have a little bit more wind, and it will be very...
Matte, non ti senti, non c'è collegamento.
Okay.
Ecco, ti sta chiamando ora forse.
So, very light wind from 80 degrees, 5 knots, a little bit more wind on the right side. We have a storm very far on the right. It will be a upwind, a long upwind on the starboard. Now the boat are trying to go on upwind. Not easy for everyone, but I think a lot of boats they try to start on the port side, and that's all. We keep in touch later. The race committee is working for to be on time.
Getting ready. But we can just turn around and see them.
Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, we are. Of course we are.
Right.
And you mentioned that in 1998, Rolex joined the Giraglia as title sponsor, and they introduced the inshore races, probably also because Saint-Tropez was such a beautiful place. So let's see together the port. Let's discover the city of Saint-Tropez with this feature. Bienvenue to the sunny shores of Saint-Tropez, an iconic destination located in the French Riviera. We will take you today to discover its charm, glamour, and natural beauty.
At the very beginning, Saint-Tropez was a small fishing village. Then year by year, it became what we all know today, the best playground for glamour, rich and famous.
Saint-Tropez is synonymous with stunning beaches that attract sun-seeking tourists from all over the world. Pampelonne is the most famous, or one of the most famous. It stretches for 5 kilometers, offering pristine sand, crystal clear water, and exclusive beach clubs.
When sun sets here in Saint-Tropez, the city comes really alive with bar, restaurant and clubs that are some of the world's best party destinations ever.
Saint-Tropez is heaven for food lovers, from charming little cafes to Michelin-star restaurants. If you pass by here, you can't miss to savor two of the specialties, the fish stew called bouillabaisse and, of course, la tarte tropézienne. Saint-Tropez fascinates tourists for its undeniable allure, and sailors are no exception. Since 1998, it's been chosen as a departure port for the Giraglia Rolex Cup, when the Swiss watch brand decided to add inshore races to the traditional offshore regatta.
Exactement, c'est un honneur parce que bon, l'histoire de la Giraglia, ça a démarré il y a 70 ans, mais c'était surtout pour rapprocher deux clubs. Au départ, c'était créé par le Yacht Club de France et le Yacht Club Italiano. C'était pour refaire un peu l'amitié entre l'Italie et la France après la guerre. Et depuis, c'est fabuleux parce que depuis, cette course perdure et il y a toujours autant de monde, même de plus en plus de monde. Bon, l'esprit, c'est vrai, qu'a changé. Au départ, c'était des bateaux plutôt croisières, une promenade qui faisait cette course. Maintenant, il y a beaucoup de professionnels, beaucoup de gros bateaux de course qui viennent un peu du monde entier. Et c'est pour ça que c'est absolument magnifique parce qu'on a toutes les technologies, on va de certains bateaux un peu classiques aux bateaux ultra modernes. Nous, au niveau de la Société nautique de Saint-Tropez, on a de très très gros événements. On commence avec une régate qui s'appelle Armen, qui est une régate, je dirais, locale, où il y a une 60aine de bateaux. Ensuite, nous avons la régate des dames, qui est une course avec des bateaux classiques qui font tous plus de 20 mètres et où il y a exclusivement des équipages féminins. Donc ça marche très très bien aussi parce que ça a de plus en plus d'ailleurs de succès. Cette année, nous avons eu la manche championnat du monde des TP52, donc très haut niveau comme course aussi, qui était pratiquement en même temps que la régate des dames. Donc on avait dans le port de Saint-Tropez des bateaux extrêmement modernes, très rapides, et des bateaux classiques. Donc c'était magnifique parce qu'on voit vraiment les contrastes des bateaux et l'ambiance qu'il y avait. Et ensuite, bien entendu, on a les CLGP qui sont des bateaux qui sont, je dirais, les bateaux de préparation pour l'America's Cup parce que ces bateaux-là vont très très vite et puis c'est de la Formule 1 des mers. Et le record du monde de vitesse a été battu ici l'année dernière à Saint-Tropez à près de 100 km/h, 99,50 km/h par l'équipe de France justement. Et puis ensuite, nous avons les voiles de Saint-Tropez, où là c'est carrément international. On a 250 bateaux, des bateaux qui viennent du monde entier et qui mélangent bateaux classiques et bateaux modernes. Ça va des maxis, aussi bien tous les Wally ou des maxis qu'il y a ici. Et ensuite des bateaux classiques qui sont tous plus beaux les uns que les autres. Et tout le monde court en même temps, tout le monde fait la fête en même temps et ça dure, cette année ça va durer 10 jours. Voilà. Donc on a un événement, c'est vrai que toute l'année il y a des très très gros événements et Saint-Tropez le supporte et nous sommes, je dirais au niveau du club, un apport très important sur le plan économique pour la ville de Saint-Tropez Parce que bien entendu,
Day one.
ça génère des hôtels, des restaurants, enfin bon, beaucoup de locations. Et ça, c'est très important pour Saint-Tropez.
So this was Saint-Tropez and the president of the Société Nautique de Saint-Tropez, Pierre Rouansana. So we saw the location where we're at, and why don't we go over the past 3 days of inshore races. Starting by day one, it was coastal race for everybody. It was nice conditions. I mean, they all started on time and did their own thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was obviously following the maxi boats, and they did a 19-mile coastal race, which basically they went upwind out of the Gulf de Saint-Tropez here, and then went around, I think, 4 or 5 marks offshore, and then came back again. And it really started the trend actually of the week. So Dario Ferrari's maxi 75 cannonballed, won that first race, and in the
Can we see the images from day one?
And in the Maxi 2 class, it was the International Maxi Association president Benoit de Froidmont who won with Woligno, and they both won by quite big margins actually on that first day. So,
yes, it was a good day also for the little ones. They started slightly later, but I think they had the same wind, and
yeah, it was light, but it was very sailable that day.
it was light but sailable. And then we go to day two, which was a little bit trickier for the maxi.
Yeah.
So I can tell you for the littles, because the smaller boats, because I was here, they started right behind us where the Giraglia is going to start today, where the offshore race is going to start. And they did their coastal race. We're back in, I think, by 3-4 p.m., while we still didn't have news of the maxi. Where were they?
So basically, when the Maxis do windward lures, we take them around to the bay off the famous Pampelon Beach, which is a very famous landmark here. It's just around to the sort of southeast of Saint-Tropez.
Yeah,
And generally, you get better conditions there. So we set up a course for windward lures there, where they go upwind and then come back downwind. But unfortunately, there was no wind there for about 3 hours. But everyone was very patient. The race committee held on, and then eventually we were able to get one race in. But it was literally in about 5 knots of wind. It was very, very shifty winds. So, but they managed to do it. So we're better than not racing.
And Cannibal was again on top.
And yes, Cannibal. I was going to say I'm afraid, but yeah, fair enough. They were again on top.
They're on fire, Dizzy.
Absolutely.
They've been very, very good for these past 3 days.
Exactly. Yeah. And then again, Woligno and Maxi B. So
True. Woligno is also in great shape.
Yeah.
And then we go to day 3. That was yesterday. Yesterday the forecasts were awful, but luckily then the day turned out to be quite a good one. So this time the lucky one were the Maxis, because they started right on time, had their coastal race, and were back ashore by 2:30, I'd say. And who was on top again?
Well, once again, it was Cannonball, Dario Ferrari's Maxi 75. So basically, both she in the bigger Maxi boat class won every race over the last 3 days, and again it was Woligno. So it's actually really rare, to be fair. We don't often see boats. Normally, it's much more competitive. Yes, but anyway, so they both scored perfect score lines. Whether they can repeat that in the offshore race is another matter.
Yeah, it's a whole different story today.
Exactly, yeah. But I think the interesting thing about yesterday was that there were massive clouds, and we're again seeing massive clouds over the land today. And that brought on torrential rain last night. I mean, literally it rained. It was like a monsoon for 2 hours yesterday evening. And even boats which were out on the racecourse yesterday were describing there was a lot of electrical kind of conditions, and your hair was not quite going up, but it was. It felt like it could do if the lightning struck. A lot of thunder last night.
Yeah, it was, and they had issues, electronical issues on board, like you were saying, I think. The smaller boats started late compared to what was scheduled, and some of them got back in very late, after 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And because of that torrential rain, the big goodbye party that is very characteristics of the Giraglia didn't happen. So many, 180 teams disappointed, I think.
It was unbelievable, because that literally is one of the best parties in the whole of sailing. They Rolex set up this extraordinary area, which is just about 100 meters away from where we are right now, and it's I think it's the Plage de Pesquière.
Pesquier, yeah.
Pesquière, my pronunciation is
Yeah,
very bad.
no, it's fine.
But it's a fantastic
You're
area,
English.
and they have a stage, and they have really great bands playing there, and there's food.
Definitely.
And
And
they have
remember when the
and
party
they have
was...
fireworks as well, you know, and we missed all of that.
And remember when it was held up on the Citadel?
Yeah.
That was even better, I believe.
Yeah.
It was the best.
Yes. Yeah, I don't remember that, but yeah, no, I remember it happening.
I can tell you why you
And
don't remember that.
Yeah,
It was a
exactly,
big party.
Yeah, no, that's
So, but
amazing.
yes, the rain didn't make the party happen last night, and with the weather, you cannot do anything but deal with it.
So and apparently the food, because there was obviously a lot of catering from last night, have gone
of
to
course.
some charities around
that's
Central
good to know. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Great.
so they didn't go to waste, which is good news.
That's perfect. But what I was going to say is that with the weather, you can do nothing about but just follow it. And we're hearing some thunderstorm right now.
No, we're not. I can't hear that at all.
So let's see. Let's go to the water and see what Baci is doing on Ita 102. Because I can see the countdown with 11 minutes to the start. 11 minutes, yes. Baci, are you there? What's going on? Oh, you're in good company.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I'm here with the owner of the boat, and I really want you to meet him and know him. And I want by us to say to him, thank you very much to have us on board with him. So, Giovanni, how you doing?
Well, Baci, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you. You for sure here. We're ready to have a lot of fun. We had fun in the past 3-4 days. We started in Sanremo. It was there was a little bit of light winds in the last few days, but we still had fun. We were able to race every day, so that's a positive. And but you know, we were all looking forward to the long regatta.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
the Giraglia, and we can't wait to start.
Yeah,
We're
definitely.
just 10 minutes away, probably.
10
Yeah.
minutes to
Did
go.
we hear
But
right?
Giovanni,
Was that the
this
10
boat-
minutes?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes. Actually, I guess that the wind has a bit shift because I saw the mark has been taken and has been moved a little bit, but maybe Matteo knows that better than us. But
Yeah,
what
we'll
I
go
can
to him
say to
later.
you is, what kind of boat is this one, and what we can expect from this race?
So this boat was designed in 2008, around 2008 by Felci. It's a Felci 61. Over the years, incredibly, it's gotten. So the past couple of years, they were good years for us, especially here at the Giraglia, since we won for 2 years in a row the class. Last year we were just one place short to winning the whole race, but well, we have one more to beat, so let's try our best.
And we will try it this time. So, Rachele, I guess you want to something about weather. I can say what is now here in this moment. You can show us something in the forecast. Actually, now we had like 5 minutes ago a little bit more pressure. I guess it was like 10 knots, a little bit more.
Well, you're
Sorry,
breaking
get
a
down
little bit, Baci.
little bit. Yeah.
You're
It's
breaking
like,
a little bit.
I guess for. Oh.
Yeah, but now
You
you're
cannot-
back. But
you cannot
listen,
hear me?
you're in the first
Okay.
group to start. Confirm?
Yeah, I confirm it. Yeah, we confirm
Yeah.
it, definitely.
Yeah. So you're gonna
So
start
there
in
were
about 8
a little
minutes,
bit more.
right?
Yes, it should be. It should be. Actually, the line must be put it again. The mark is in our back here. You can see it.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe yes. I will
Yes,
try
I
to
see
show
it.
you. It's there. They just repose it again. So let's see when they will start with the starting countdown. The wind is not so much now. Actually, we got, I guess, not more than 5 knots. So let's see what is going on.
Yeah. Thank you, Baci. Thank you, Giovanni. Enjoy the ride, and we'll get
Ciao,
back to you
Rachele.
later.
Thank you.
They have 5 knots, but I feel more here.
Yeah, at the moment, as we were saying earlier, there's lots of clouds which are sort of building up over the land. This is not generally when you get a sea breeze, you get some cumulus cloud build up over the land, but this is actually a frontal system. So we've got some rather ominous-looking black clouds above us, Rachele, which I'm hoping will not deposit their contents on us.
No, they don't look promising
They
for
don't
us.
look that promising. But the good news is that with these clouds comes wind, and so it's going to be very challenging because these clouds will pass over and they'll bring both wind shifts and gusts to the competitors.
Definitely. So let's leave this to the specialist and let's talk to our meteorologist who told us about the next 24 hours, I'd say.
Hi everyone, welcome to this new weather update. The low pressure vortex active on the western Mediterranean is confirmed. This system generates bad weather in the Italian highland, hinterland and French coast. Today the vortex between the Balearic Island and Corsica will be positioned tomorrow in the center of Italy, and Friday will be in Greece. This movement progressively leads to atmospheric pressure to increase. The departure is scheduled for 12 o'clock with a light wind from the southeast, progressively rotating to the left and increasing in intensity. For the first few hours of navigation, a moderate intensity northeasterly wind is expected, which will maintain the prevailing direction also in the afternoon, but progressively decreasing in intensity. In the evening, rotation to north-northwest and local variation of intensity. There are areas with more intense winds and areas with light winds. It is important for sailors to know how to navigate in areas with greater intensity to have an advantage in variable conditions such as these days. Between night and the morning there is a calm in the Giraglia area. Large moments of calm winds are expected on Thursday morning with the formation of thunderstorm on the ground that control the wind flow. In the afternoon the prevailing winds has a westerly direction of moderate intensity. It remains throughout the day and tends to rotate towards the northwest with a slight decrease towards the evening. During the night, the north-northeast winds prevail again with moderate intensity, while calm winds are expected in the afternoon. So it's not an easy regatta, but very interesting from a strategic point of view. So have a good wind.
So hearing it from the specialist, I don't think we did too bad, James. We were quite right.
Absolutely.
And Carlo Borlenghi just passed over our heads on the helicopter.
It was quite. I was speaking to Vasco Vascotto, who's the tactician on Cannonball yesterday, and he was saying that, last night that they generally, when they're doing the weather for these things, they look at what they call different weather models. And one was saying that they would be in on Thursday afternoon, and the other weather model was saying they would be in on Friday afternoon. So there's quite a huge sort of variation between what's out there. So, and I think even now it's not really very clear.
Is it because of all these storms around?
I think so, yeah, and also the big weather systems to the west and east of the racecourse are moving around, and just a slight change in those can change the wind direction and also the strength dramatically. So I think it's going to be what they call a snakes and ladders racecourse, Raquel.
Snakes and ladder. I've always liked this expression. And do we have Matteo Capurro? We would like to go on the water because I mean they're very close to us. Actually, I think committee boat is right behind us. Can you see it? The red boat. Well, now there's a tourist boat going by.
I see the orange flag, yeah. Oh, the red boat.
We have Matteo. Matteo will tell us a little bit more about the delay.
Here we are again. We are less than 7 minutes to start. Now the wind is increasing. We have already 8, 9 knots in the bay. We have had a left shift, a big left shift. So there is a new starting line and very nice condition. The sea breeze is increasing. All the boats are the big boats are on the starting line for take the pin, and for sure it will be a fantastic start for this Giraglia.
Yes, indeed, a fantastic start. Thank you, Matteo. We're right here, James. We can almost, it's like almost being on board, but not quite. And if we can go back to the camera on sea, we can try and be part of it. Let's see what they say. But like Baci said, Baci talked about 5 knots, and now Matteo, who I trust a little bit more,
No way.
given his sailing background, is talking about 8-10 knots. That would be amazing for the start.
No,
Look
but-
at it. What do you think?
Yeah.
This
No,
is
I'm
live
looking
from
at-
the race course.
I think the shift actually is as important as the build in wind speed, because if it goes right, it means that so if it goes left rather, it means that the boats should be able to actually lay the next mark of the course on starboard tack, or or be close to it. So that will save them some time. We're just seeing Blackjack coming up here. She's got her keel canted to the other side, so she looks like she's.
Oh yeah, she's
It's really
very-
weird. It's really weird seeing that when they sort of tack over.
It's not the wind that makes her do that.
No, so she's got a big canting keel on her.
The other big monster is Arca, isn't it? After the disaster that happened to them on a different boat, though, in Naples, in the Gulf of Naples. They're back here with what was Shockwave 3.
That's correct. So they had a big problem in the Regatta Tre Gulfi, where they had a problem with their keel box, and they were sort of sinking, if I'm correct, quite
Yes,
frank.
you are correct.
And they didn't actually abandon the boat, but they managed to salvage it, fortunately. But it's being repaired in Gaeta at the moment. So they've actually managed, fortunately they've got lots of friends in Trieste, and they managed to borrow a 90-footer, so it's a bit smaller. But this is a bit of boat anorak stuff. Blackjack is originally Alfa Romeo 2, and the boat which is now Arca SGR was Alfa Romeo 1. So we've got
Exactly, so it's
both
a
of
whole
these-
big family.
So we're just lacking Neville Crichton, who was the guy who originally built them.
And I hear he's going to be back in the game.
Yeah, so he's actually bought a J-Class boat now. So
Oh.
we're expecting, because the J-Class have got a World Championship taking place in Barcelona, coinciding with the America's Cup next year. And so we should see Neville back with his back in Europe racing again on an even bigger boat than he normally has.
Okay, so Baci is calling us. Baci, what have you got to say? Where are you?
Ciao guys, and we have to start. So it's really an amazing moment here. As you said before, actually you were right, because we were in a place where the wind had a big shift, but Matteo was in another place of the pre-start area, and there the wind was a little bit more stable actually. So I'm sorry. No, actually there is like notes now.
We imagine that the wind is really unstable, like actually ashore where James and I are. It's always been blowing. It's always been very nice. But
Yes,
we are about
super
2
unstable.
minutes from the start.
It's
Are you
super
guys getting
unstable and
ready?
it's super tricky. Now we have, sorry, 1 minute, and the right position is to start on a boat. So really next to you, I can see you from there, sitting there, and we are
I'm
really
looking
next
for
to
you.
the rocks. And we will start really in the boat. So will be super tricky, because every boat are here actually. We are really next to you can see there.
Yeah,
to
behind us,
TP
the
52.
Argentinian are actually cheering. This is the Giraglia spirit.
Yeah.
Can you hear them?
So there is cannonball there, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. Such a lovely start. So we got 45 seconds now to start. And actually we are trying to burn, we have some seconds to burn, because we are too close to the starting line. We are jumping on a boat from one side to the other. I'm the only one that I can do. I can stay here in the middle, but everyone is working so hard. I want to let you see what we see from there.
Yes,
we got
Baci,
just one
yes,
that
we
is
see.
Kadima
But
up to us.
it's about now 30 seconds to the start. So, excuse me, but we'll
Now.
go to see the start. We can actually see pretty well from here, James.
It's
What do you
5
see?
seconds
I'm
and we
seeing
are
Euro.
starting, guys. We are starting.
So it looks like Yoru is early. I'm not seeing them going back.
Yeah, there's an early boat, definitely.
There's Yoru, Luigi Sala's boat. I think Cannonball was just underneath or just behind Yoru, and then I Love Poland, the Volvo 70, which won our EMA Transatlantic race this year, is down to leeward of her. And then I think we've got the Wally Centos just down to leeward of them.
Okay.
I think
some guys are having a more conservative start,
yeah.
but
So-
Cannonball and the other guys went up for it. They were.
Buona la mia.
traditionally
They have started officially. Yeah, the race is on.
and traditionally it pays to tack early here and then go into the headland off here. And we've just got a massive boat just coming past us here.
Yeah, but they're not doing the race.
They're not doing the race. So it'll be interesting to see who tacks over or who just stays on the starboard tack to see if they can actually. So you can see Blackjack is down to leeward there. She's already taken an early lead on the water. Just behind her is Vespa, the Maxi 72, which won our Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup last year.
And it's one of the less modified 72.
Well,
still
it is
there.
actually still a Maxi 72
Yeah.
apparently. So all the others have been lengthened or modified.
Yeah, there's quite a gap. Oh, look, Yoru tacked.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's.
They
what we
tack
were expecting.
first.
And the other interesting boat here is so we see Arca, which was down to leeward on the leeward end of the line there. She's already tacked over.
Yeah,
she's the
tacking,
90-footer, so
yeah.
and probably I think the second fastest boat in this fleet, behind Blackjack. So
The breeze looks nice, but yet here it was always nice and steady. I wonder how it is out there, but it looks like they're all going fine, no?
they're through the line and they're doing very, very nicely. And as we sort of predicted, quite a few of them have already tacked over. And then once they get into the point, just to the south of us, they'll tack back, and from there they should be able to lay the first this new mark, which they have to round to the east of us.
La Chrétienne, no?
La Chrétienne.
La
oui.
Chrétienne. They're going
Oui, Rachele.
northeast. We probably can see it. It's up there somewhere. They put a yellow Rolex mark, and
But it's always the boat to always watch in this race is Magic Carpet 3, because they've done the race, been doing the race more or less every year since the 1990s, and they've won it on line on several times, and they actually won they won the race overall. And the actual magician when it comes to tacticians in this race is a guy called Marcel van Triest, Dutch round the world sailor, who's one of literally the most accomplished routers in the world, and he regularly sails on Magic Carpet, and he is believed he has like a fifth sense about this race. So if you're questioning where you should go, always follow Magic Carpet.
if you're in doubt, follow them.
If you're in doubt, follow Magic Carpet.
They're quite easy to spot as well.
They are. They're one of the biggest boats here, and
but for some reason I can't quite spot them. Do
so
you see
they're a
them?
long way down to leeward now. They're
yes.
one of the ones who they're heading off towards San Maxime.
Yeah, they're close to they're on the San Maxime side.
See?
Like I can see also my song, the brand new Club Swan 80 owned by PG Loro Piana. They're also all the way down to San Maxime. Different strategies for different boats. Vesper tacked, and they're coming this way now. We haven't talked about it, but we also have a foiling boat. Do you think they're going to foil, Flying Nika?
Well, we spoke to Roberto Lacorte, who's one of the most exceptional guys I think I've ever met. He's just literally stepped out of doing the 24-hour Le Mans in an LMP2 sports car. It's like one of the, it's not the most extreme cars which do the 24-hour Le Mans, but it's sort of the second most extreme car. And so he's just finished that over the weekend, and here he is racing his probably it's the most extreme boat doing this race. It's a flying Mulahal.
They told me it's going to be a warm-up year this year, and they're going to try and beat the record next year, which you would think it's an easy task for them.
Well, the problem is it's all very much. So we've got a helicopter going up with our friend Carlo.
Ciao, Carlo.
The problem is they need 9 knots to be able to foil, and they need 9 knots to be able to foil. And Roberto Lacorte reckoned that there was only going to be about 30% of this race where they might actually get a chance to do that. But the thing is, when they do foil, they're going about 3 times the speed of everyone else. So
yeah, let's go back to the race course and go back on Ita 102 with Bacci. Bacci, where are you? Are you towards San Maxime or middle of the fleet?
Ciao guys. Now I'm really in the right part, but I ask you to come here because you were talking about Flynica, and Flynica is really down to us, really next to us is there. It's not flying. I don't know if you can see them.
Yes, we can see. She's not
They
flying, no.
Yeah. No, it's not flying. Actually, she goes a little bit not so fast as we are going, but we are quite the same. So Ita 102 is going actually like Flynica right now because they are not flying at all now.
What's your speed, Baci?
Actually, now the speed is 760.
760, 7 knots, 8 knots.
Yeah, and the,
well, that's
and
okay,
the wind is like more or less 7 knots, 7, 8 knots, not more.
Okay, thank you, Baci. Thank you very much. I asked the director, can we prepare now Matteo as soon as possible when we go back to the race. So it's much easier to understand now, James, especially from my point of view, what's going on right there on the leading part of the fleet, of the Maxi. You know this fleet quite well. You write about them almost daily, and wrote a book about them. So if you had to put your money on one of these big boats, who would you put them?
Magic Carpet 3, always.
Magic Carpet 3.
In this race, always.
Okay.
They're not actually the fastest. They're 2 faster boats in this particular race, but the crew on Magic Carpet and the owner, Sir Lindsay Owen Jones, know this race course so well, and they know their boat really well because they've been sailing it for 10 years now. So I would definitely look at what they're doing, and I think they've gone across to the San Maxime side. I haven't, I sort of lost track of them a bit.
They're still on that side.
Yeah.
And the Hendricks too is very experienced. They have 2 ocean sailors, very young ocean sailors. Well, Nieti is not that young anymore, and then they have William, son of Guillermo Altavilla. What's his name again?
Guillermo's outer little son, Willie.
Yeah, Willie, exactly.
And they've obviously got Ian Walker on board as well, who won the ocean race.
Yeah, another ocean sailor.
Yeah.
Great.
But I mean, there's some spectacularly famous sailors throughout this fleet. I saw Ed Baird walking down the dock, who obviously steered Alinghi to America's Cup victory in 2007, and there's lots of really big names that if you look at.
Well, if you mention Alinghi, we have Brad Butterworth on board Jet too.
We do, exactly, who's currently with Alinghi as well at the moment. So.
Yeah, it's always been with Alinghi.
So
I think we have Matteo Capurro. Matteo is on the race course. Let's see where he's at and what he sees. Some communication gap always with Matteo. Matteo, can you hear us?
Amazing start for the Maxi, wonderful condition, more than 10 knots on the starting line. Epic start for Magic Carpet and Blackjack. All the fleet start in the right side of the start, close to the race committee. Now a half of the fleet is going on the left part of the bay, and the other part of the fleet is trying to go on the right to keep the more wind of the right side of the bay. Now we have my song with very good speed, extremely on the left, and the Maxis are very close on the right, tack by tack. So very nice, sun, windy, and now we will go to the other race of a green fleet for a very big battle.
Thank you, Matteo. Thank you. That's very, very nice to have your point of view from the water, and it's a very technical point of view. So we have the Maxi fleet split basically in 2, like it often happens in sailing. So we have some on the left going towards San Maxime, and the other ones are back here going behind Central Bay. And well, what to expect now? In a few minutes, the smaller boats will start, and we can see now from the drone we have less and less boats on the race course. And of course, the big ones you can see them quite well, and the little ones compared to the Maxes, they look so little, don't they? Especially from that point of view, from from the drone point of view. So I can see on the water, the wind is, like Matteo was saying, it's really nice. I would say about 10, 11 knots. And it's what you would like to have for the whole race course for the next 24 hours, don't you?
No, I think that's very true. There's a very different approach with the smaller boats because while people in the Maxes and they can get in 24 hours or just over, which is basically one night at sea, and you can kind of you can do it with very little sleep. With the smaller boats, obviously it takes longer, and you have to think about watch systems, and it's a slightly different approach, and you have to think about what meals you're going to have, and who's going to be steering when, and who's going to do navigation when the navigator's sleeping, and all these. Yeah. There are lots of different choices to be made if you're on a smaller boat. So it's a slightly different race. Yeah, longer hours require better preparation for somehow, and of course they will have to take turns. What I heard from the Maxi is that they didn't have shift this time. They were just going to be all up all the time, maybe some cat naps here and there on the sails, but mostly all hands on deck, especially because there are not many hands. Well, that's very true. The other thing which I heard on a couple of boats is that they've taken a lot of sails off, so they're not expecting actually to do very many manoeuvres. Because we were at one point thinking this was going to be quite upwind, in which case they would have been tacking, and they probably would have been changing sails according to how much wind they had. Yeah, like I said, Vesper is taking one jib and one Code Zero. That's it. Yeah, so they would normally have about 3 times that. Oh, I can see the countdown is back on. It's 1 minute 30 to the start of IRC and ORC Group 1. So, well, they're also kind of a numerous group, so when you start, you have to think about where positioning, and you don't want to be bothered by other boats. So it's not just about getting and being in the best wind, but it's also not being bothered by other people. Yeah, well, I think again, if you start second, you do have the advantage that you can look up the race course. You can see where the Maxi boats are doing well, where there's more pressure on the race course by how much they're heeled and things like that. So it does actually pay to be. But obviously, with these conditions, with these big clouds overhead, it's 1 minute to go. It's 1 minute to go. It's the start is right behind us. Let's go to Matteo Capurro. He's on the race course, on the start, and let's see what he sees. Matteo, what's out there?
Here we are. We have 7 knots from 75 degrees. Now we are in less than minutes. Maybe 30 seconds to the start. All the boats are trying to push very hard. I think that all the advantage in the race committee. We have a lot of traffic. I think that the boat are starting now. We can see very good start in the middle from Red Bandit, and we have here other fantastic boat, TP52. Now it's starting. I think that it's clear start, and now a little bit wind is going on the right. We have 85-90 degrees, and so it's funny because the boat they have to do a very long upwind with a lot of tack to go out from the bay, and we have the Maxis in the end of the bay that are trying to catch the right shift, and now we are in the green group. We can see a very good start from Red Bandit in the middle, that it's behind of us, and a good start also for Lisa Air, that it's in the middle, and here we are with Suspiria, Swan 42. And now all the boats are on starboard. Now the wind is a little bit on the left side, and we have 8 knots, and maybe the tactics to go out from the bay is to tack on the wind shift, and when the boats they will be out of the bay, probably there will be a very long starboard way to turn the mark on the other part of the bay, and then we will have a long reach to Giraglia.
Thank you, Matteo. That was very accurate. Just apart from, you didn't see some boats actually tacked, and they're now going port side right here behind us. The 52, the TP52s are leading. We wouldn't have expected nothing else. They were actually built for these kind of offshore races, weren't they?
Well, most of the TP52s were built for the 52 Super Series, and many of them, after they've sort of had their useful life in that circuit, end up racing offshore, and they get sort of changed slightly and made a bit more waterproof and things like that, and they get taken in offshore races. And
but originally they were thought about for the Transpac, right? The Trans-Pacific Regatta. I'm talking 20 years ago.
Yes, I mean, that's why they're called the TP. It stands for Transpac.
Yes.
But in fact, only I think about 3 boats were ever built for that. They're much more. Many more have been built for inshore racing in the Mediterranean. But yes, basically all the boats which seem to start at the race committee boat end have tacked over fairly early on. And what's important here is the actual wind direction. So basically, the more east it goes, the more they're likely to be able to lay the first mark of the course without having to tack. They can just do one big leg without actually having to tack, which will be very fast. If they can do that, they can lay the mark directly, which will be.
So I know this is normally a winning strategy, is less maneuvers, but for the inshore races. But does it work also for the offshore races, like a 24-hour race? Actually, the less maneuvers, the better.
But I think it also depends on the conditions. If it's very light, the less maneuvers typically cost you in terms of time. Obviously, on an offshore race, there's a smaller percentage of the time. But equally well, if you're on one tack, you can get set up properly. You get the boat trimmed up properly and things like that, and it's just much easier to do. You can get the weight on the boat, you can get the crew positioned in the right place.
True. So we are 2 starts down, 1 to go. It's the smaller boats of the 184. It's the IRC and ORC2. So yet another race for these guys.
Exactly, yes. I mean, as we were saying earlier, the smaller the boats are, the longer they take. So it requires a rather different approach in terms of how you actually, you may be at sea for 2 nights, for example, and obviously people can't stay up for that long. So you have to think about when they're going to sleep, and and it depends how organised you are. Some boats will have watches, so that you'll have a number of crew who are sleeping, a number of crew who are actively racing the boat, and another group who are on standby. And you also have to think about when you're going to have meals and
totally different race. I can see there are a few class 40 boats. I can see one. That one is made in Midi, Quito de Pavan. We met him the other day, and he was saying that the Giraglia is an awesome regatta for the class 40, of course, and he's trying to push the class down here in the south because there's much more sun rather than in Brittany.
Yeah, I mean the class 40s are really built for more wind, so they typically, as you say, are raced in Brittany. I think we've got 20 coming to do the Rolex Fastnet race this year, which will be a nice turnout. But in the major offshore races in France, they can get more than 50 class 40s coming down. So if they get this event put onto the class calendar,
it would be amazing.
Suddenly your numbers will be boosted.
So it's 5 minutes to go, James, for the 3rd and last start of the 70th edition of the Rolex Giraglia. And they're getting ready. Look at them. Jibs are going up.
Jibs going up.
And the wind is blowing nice and steady.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'm asking if we have Matteo in a little bit. Not yet, because it was very nice to hear him from the very same line as the start. What do we see now? we see.
Well, again, I think the boats are sort of grouping around the committee boat end of the line. I'm not sure if that's the favoured end, but certainly, you know, as we were saying earlier, one of the strategies here is you
4 minutes.
You start near the race committee boat and then you tack immediately.
Yes, well, we have to say that this fleet with smaller boats, normally there are less professional on board, so it's more of a race with friends and family, which it doesn't take any less engagement and you know, knowledge. They're very prepared.
Yeah.
It's just that they decide to do it with their boat, with their family boats, and among friends. So the spirit of Giraglia.
Yeah, but I mean, that's fantastic. You know, you get to be on the same start line as some of these hotshot professionals, guys who won the America's Cup and done the Volvo Ocean race and things like that. And, you know, you can be part of the same race, which is just fantastic.
3 minutes now, James. 3 minutes to go. So we're gonna see we actually are seeing some flapping jibs getting close to the race, because you want to be on the line at 0-0, but not 1 second early, right?
Ideally not, no. Yeah.
And how important is the start in an offshore regatta, in a 215-mile regatta?
Well, you wouldn't think it's that important, but it really is. It makes basically any state. Winning these races is about making incremental gains, small gains throughout the race, and the start is one of the most significant ones. So yes, it pays to get. If you can do it, it pays to get a really good start. You know, in any race. So the guys will. I can see a lot. Yeah, these boats may be smaller, but there's some very well-known ones. Raging Bee has won, which we're seeing in the foreground there, has won a great number of races under her previous owner.
Now we can see the start from the drone on our monitor, James.
Yeah.
And well, not as many black sails as we have seen so far. So we're back to the traditional sails on this start. It's now 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go for the last start. So if the big ones are going to take about 24 hours or less, how long do you think these boats are going to take?
Yes, I mean, I think they'll be at least twice that long, and probably more. Yeah, probably up to 3
So probably
days.
they will arrive in Geneva on Friday afternoon.
I think the smallest ones will definitely arrive on Friday afternoon. I mean, but as I said, it looks like it won't be by any means the lightest race. It won't be like the race which we had last year. And there's looking around here, there's a huge amount of cloud activity. There's definitely some rain over Port Grimo, deeper into the Gulf here. And this will, you know, the boats will start experiencing that, and it's going to be one of those races where every cloud will make a difference. So, as we said earlier, it's going to be an eyes out of the boat sort of race. So.
Yes, it will be. Snakes and lather. Let's go back to Matteo. Matteo is on the starting line, and he will tell us what he sees better than us, of course.
Okay, here we are, 1 minute to start for the last group, the yellow group. The wind it's from 80 degrees, 8 knots, and all the fleet is close to the race committee, because on the right side of the bay we have a little bit more wind and more gust from the right side. So we are closer to the start for the last group, and they are approaching to the starting line. They are pushing a lot. For the moment, the first two start were okay, no boat outside of the line, and we will see this one. And it's a few seconds, 10 seconds to the start. Now the boat are starting. We will see the fantastic fleet, and we are hearing the race committee. There is individual recall, so some boats were outside of the line. I don't know who, and we can see a right shift. All the boats are sailing on starboard with a gust from the right side of the bay. So probably now the boats continue on the starboard, and in the first moment that the wind will go on the left, they try to tack and sailing in the right part of the bay. So we keep in touch later.
Thank you to Carlo as well.
We're trying to get all of that for us.
Getting the best position for the start of the third group. Wow, they've left. So that's it. The Giraglia is on for everybody. 184 boats is not a record fleet, but still, I mean, 200 boats for an offshore regatta in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
How wonderful is that?
And it's the 70th edition as well. It's
70, wow, yes.
That's really impressive. So, I mean, the race was originally set up as a device of sort of bringing Italy and France together after the Second World War. And
Yes.
I think it's, judging from the number of Italian and French boats which do, it's certainly achieved that, hasn't it?
Yeah, it worked. It worked well. So if we can go to Bacci, then we'll go to Bacci and see where he's at. Maybe he's already in La Cretière. No, I don't think so. How long do you think it will take to go to the first mark?
I don't exactly know where the first mark is, Raquel, but...
Okay, yeah. Oh, we have Bacci. Bacci, where are you?
Hi guys, actually we just get out of the bay right in this moment. As you can see, there is the limit of the bay and we here have the open sea. Well, we decided to stay at the really right part of the race course. The wind, it was a little bit more strong in that part. So,
I can see you're doing your job on the rails, trying to lean the boat.
Yeah. I'm trying to push in so much, but actually my team was looking at me like, actually, you are looking to the other stuff. We are working here. And
show us your crew on the rails. Show us your crew on the rails.
Actually,
look
I
at
got all
that.
the guys here that are pushing so much, they're working so much. Yeah, one
great.
rail.
We should get away from this, shouldn't we?
Yeah, how many are there? How many are you?
How many guys we are on board? 16. 16, they say. 16. I didn't count that, actually.
Nice. And do you plan to take turns? Watches?
Sorry?
Do you plan to take turns, watches, or are you just staying awake all night, everybody?
No, actually, we planned that. There is a board inside the boat. I'm going to show you later, maybe, before the turns. So I don't know with who I will be. I will find it later. Because now we really have to stay here. And as you can see now, the light is really shifting. It's going up and down, and we have to go back and outside. Because even on Maxi, you have to do that so much. It's so important.
How much wind do you have, Bacci?
Actually, I cannot see the screen now, but I guess it's like more or less 8 knots, not more than 10 knots, no.
Okay. So you actually get to lay down, not just being on the rail.
Yeah, definitely to lay down. We're not sleeping. We're not sleeping.
No, of course not. That's work. That's work.
And now we have to go out again. This is the job. Yeah. The boat.
Never a dull moment. But what do you see? What other boats do you see, Bacci? What other boats?
Actually, we got 270, two in front of us. I guess these are two. A Vespa there, they say, because I don't have my glasses, I cannot see that very well. But surely just two a Vespa. And there I can see Remax.
Okay, another big one.
Yeah, there is Arca really in the front.
Okay.
I cannot see it anymore. I cannot see anymore.
I can guess that you're all quite spread out, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely, yes. Actually, we are really in the right part. So I got the Jeep there, as you can see, and it covers all the part in front of us. I don't know if you see that. So I don't see the guy that stayed in the left part of the race course. But I guess Fly Nika is there, and Arca is there. Oh, no, they say me. Sorry, Fly Nika is there, is in the back, in the right side of the race course. So we're quite in the front, I have to say. I don't want to say that so loud, but we're quite in the front. Good start.
Does anybody on board know the ETA?
The ETA?
Yeah, expected arrival time. Or expected time of arrival.
But you mean to the
tomorrow.
first mark?
Tomorrow. We want to know when you
Genoa.
arrive in Genova tomorrow.
I'm going to ask to the tactica.
Yeah, thank you. It's just a curiosity. It's still early hours, of course, but it's just a curiosity because that ETA, James, changes a lot throughout the race, depending on where you are. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, I do definitely, guys. It's amazing. It's really amazing. You know what? To be in here and to start with all these boats together, this amazing boat is such an incredible thing. Maybe it's the best thing in these 3 days, I guess.
I hear you because the alley is going over our head.
Can you hear me now?
But we can see that you are having fun.
Yeah.
He looks like he's having fun, doesn't he?
It does.
Yeah, it's slow.
Look at that, amazing. And now we would like to try to go back to Matteo at some point. I wonder where and who is he following now. But in the meantime, maybe we can, we prepare the feature about the record, because isn't it all about hunting that record and breaking it? And all the offshore regattas are like that. I mean, the Giraglia, when it was born, it was called the Fastnet of the South, of the Sun. And well, the record to beat is, like we said already, 14 hours, 56 minutes, some seconds, 14 probably. And let's see a bit of a story about that record. The race for the record, that is to win the line honors, has always been an important feature of this regatta. The course of the Giraglia unfolds on a large triangle whose lower vertex is represented by the rock with the same name. So the start is from Saint-Tropez, a short disengagement leg to Port Cros to the west, then the descent of about 120 miles to the Giraglia, and the ascent back to the Gulf of Genoa of about 90 miles. A Giraglia legendary boat was certainly the Benbow, which, under the Yacht Club Italiano pennant, participated in almost every Giraglia from 1973, the year she was built, until 1984. She closed that year on a high note with a record time of 27 hours and 24 minutes that would stand until 1998. Since then, the record has remained more or less safe, despite several particularly windy editions and the presence of increasingly modern and faster hulls. The record has been in the hands of Igor Simchic's 100-footer Azimut Europa since 2012, which finished the round trip in 14 hours, 56 minutes and 16 seconds. The 2023 edition features Azimut Europa, with a new owner and a new name. It is Peter Harburg's Blackjack. Same boat, change of looks, we said that already, is now a black boat. I think Azimut was blue. The idea behind it was to put Europe together, and Europe was bigger back then, but I don't want to get into that.
Please don't.
Let's go back to the race course with Matteo Capurro and see where he's at and what he sees. Matteo.
So here we are in the last group. They are sailing in upwind. The conditions are the same of before. 10 knots from 80 degrees. 3 fantastic stars. All the schedule was in time. So it will be a very fantastic race with a long upwind until the first mark, and then a long reach to Giraglia. So we will see in Genoa for the arrival of the first one.
Thank you, Matteo. Thank you very much. So it's following the third group. I guess the Maxis are far away already. What would you reckon?
It's really hard to say without seeing. I can probably have a look on the tracker, but
Oh yeah, that's right. There is on the official website, rolexgiraglia.com, you can find, apart from us in this live, you can find the tracking, and it will be all the way up to Genova tomorrow for the big ones, and like we said, probably Friday afternoon for the little one. And then there's always a great welcome in Genoa. There's usually pasta al pesto, traditional dish from Genova, and Yacht Club Italiano is it's a good place to land after a 24 hours or 48-hour race. So I would like to talk to Bacci as soon as we can and see where he's at. But first, maybe let's meet some of the big names that were and are racing today in Giraglia. Do you remember what number of Giraglia this is for you?
Não. Eu acho que fiz entre 15 e 18, ali. Está ali, intermédio.
To be honest, I don't know, but quite a couple.
Ne avrò fatte 20, 30, non ho idea.
Io l'ho fatta 3 volte e ti può dare grandi soddisfazioni e anche grandi delusioni. E tutto dipende dal vento che si trova.
Une vingtaine de Giraglia et puis depuis longtemps, ma première ça devait être dans les années 80.
Creo que esta va a ser mi 6ª edición en la Giraglia.
Ganhamos 4 Giraglias, 3 com o Cora e uma com a Natália.
Hemos ganado varias veces, de hecho la última vez con el Magic Carpet ganamos y fue bastante bien, y alguna también he hecho con Smith Europa, así que una regata que se me suele dar bien.
What do you like about this offshore regatta?
It starts with a fantastic venue in Saint-Tropez to start, and the difficult conditions leaving the Gulf and going to the Pocola Islands, and then obviously the very famous Giraglia Rock as a mark, which is just giving them the name. So yeah, it's a very interesting regatta, each year a little bit different. And I remember well with Smith Europa, we're still holding the record.
I was going to
say. So, but not every year is a record year. So we're depending very much on what weather conditions we're going to see.
Per me è doppiamente un classico, diciamo, da rispettare, perché mio padre ne vinse 2 negli anni fine 50, e quindi è un po' anche di famiglia, ecco. E quindi partecipo sempre molto volentieri. È una regata difficile perché nel Mediterraneo, soprattutto in questa parte, insomma, non è proprio generoso con il vento.
C'est un moment particulier de réunion, de rassemblement avec plein d'autres gens qui naviguent un peu partout, et en Méditerranée et partout dans le monde. Et c'est une belle fête de la voile, tout simplement parce qu'on réunit tout le monde. Voilà, rien que ça, c'est formidable. Le parcours, il est génial. C'est toujours très beau. Mais c'est surtout, voilà, c'est ça, quoi. C'est une réunion de tout le monde. Voilà, on rencontre des tas de gens qu'on ne voit pas d'habitude. Et ça, c'est sympa.
Beh, la Giraglia diciamo è un mito. La Giraglia è un mito nel senso che tutti vogliono partecipare alla Giraglia, è una regata impegnativa con 260 miglia, è una prova bellissima, è un mare favoloso dove si possono incontrare le balene.
É uma regata longa, não demasiado longa, digamos, são 2 dias, e é bastante interessante a primeira parte, como a segunda, a chegada a Génova, é complicada, porque tem sempre muito pouco vento.
Comunque è entusiasmante vedere partire 200 barche da Saint-Tropez a raggiungere Genova.
Bueno, creo que es una regata bastante emocionante porque bueno, es un recorrido corto de una noche prácticamente, y es unas condiciones bastante cambiantes, un buen desafío para la tripulación, y la verdad que es una regata que es súper divertida porque es muy intensa.
Questo prologo qui a Saint-Tropez è sempre molto interessante, soprattutto la sera con le ostriche e champagne.
Yes, so Mauro Perlaschier was saying how nice it is to spend the evenings in Saint-Tropez with oyster and champagne. Of course, living the life. Living the life. Let's see what life is living Bacci on Ita 102. Bacci, we want you. Are you there?
Ciao, Rack.
Oh, look
Ciao,
at you.
Rack.
Who's that boat? What's that boat?
This is a Soto 60, and this is from Brazil. They are up with a Cordero now. Just with a J here. And the situation is this one I wanted to show you. There is a little bit downwind situation. The wind is decreasing a little bit. As you can see, part of my team is downwind now sitting and not anymore here. There is a tactician and a helpman there that is trying to do the best to not let them pass so fast. Fly Nika is still there. I don't know if you see them, but
No,
it's
we
a
don't, but
really,
it's
really
okay. We see you,
okay.
and when we
Well,
see
it,
the crew sitting
it's
half
really in the back.
downwind, half leeward, and half windward, it's like you said, a situation of not too much wind. And the code
Yeah,
zero
not too
on
much
the
wind.
other boat is telling us also that they're trying to catch all the little puffs that they can.
Yeah, actually, they with the code zero is getting a little bit down, not so up like we can do. I have to go now downwind.
On the other side,
But
that's
the
perfect. We
wind,
go with you.
yeah. Okay, the wind is going, is decreasing so much. This part you can see that there in the front. I don't know if you can see them. There are the biggest maxi, the fastest one. They actually stayed in the middle of the course, the race course, and then they're still in the middle, going really fast there. As I said before to you, we stayed in the right part, so in this part of the course, and this is the other part of the fleet that is going. Actually, we are quite all together now. Not so many boats that is going so far in the front. And there, I don't know if you see him, but it is Matteo. I can see him there on the rubber
yeah,
boat.
right, for sure. You can easily spot that boat. It's the only green boat in the fleet. But actually, no, there are some funky colors these days in the fleet.
Well, your boat is green as well.
Yeah, true.
That's
Grazie, Baci. Grazie. Thank you very much. Look at you.
Raquel, I want to say you that we are going to arrive maybe in Friday morning, as they say.
So at the moment your
that is him.
ETA is Friday morning.
Yeah,
it's probably
moment,
because you're
yes,
in a spot with very light wind, but we believe from here,
actually,
and James and I are very, we got our information in a good spot. It's going to be up and down for the next 24 hours, like the meteorologist said.
Yeah, actually, so. as you can imagine, everything can change in 1 second.
Yes,
so we will see that.
Yes, and you just for you it's just to enjoy the ride.
Thank you very much, guys. For now, it's amazing. It's been amazing start, mine and the other two after us. So we are really, really happy because the weather condition is perfect to enjoy as much as we can this amazing Giraglia 70 edition.
Yes, thank you, Baci. Enjoy the ride and see you back in Genoa.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Ciao.
Ciao. So it's going to be apparently a smooth ride to Genoa. So some stronger winds, but probably not over 15 knots, I would say, unless some storm comes.
Well, as I was saying earlier, if you look around the Gulf here, there's some really nasty big black clouds. And if they're heading towards the fleet, then I think they may well see more than 15 or 20 knots at times.
But not for long.
Not for long. No, I think that's the thing. So it's going to be a cloud by cloud kind of race.
It is going to be cloud by cloud, and my favorite expressions is going to be snakes and ladders.
Snakes and ladders, there you
But
go.
I don't think it's going to be a situation where the little boats actually catch up with the bigger boats, and that's going to be respected, right?
Well, I think there'll be elements of that within the fleet, but it won't be there won't be a massive park up at Giraglia or anything like that, I don't think.
Yeah, probably. And so our backdrop now, it's very different. We're back to classic Saint-Tropez with some tourists on their boats enjoying the peace and quiet and the beautiful scenario. So no more black sails and crazy starts with 50 boats on the starting line. So I think it's time for us to go and to invite you to follow the race on the tracking on rolexgiraglia.com. And I have a big list of thank you to make. And of course, we will start from Yacht Club Italiano with Luigi Magliari, Lele Bassino, Angela Ferro, Alberto Rigone, Gian Maria Proserpio, and of course the president for believing in these week live shows. Thank you very much for believing in us. And then Leading Technologies for making it happen with their technical support. And then, of course, all the boat show crew. So it's Massimiliano Mauri at the edit, Luigi Camassa and Nicola Roccatagliata behind the cameras and the drone, Andrea Meriggi, Claudia Scaccianoce for graphic design, Veronica Valenza for social media content, and our CEO, Federico Cozza. Of course, my companions in this journey, Baci Del Buono, James Boyd, and Matteo Capurro. But then, of course, we gotta thank you all for watching it, for staying with us from Sunday until today's live. And above everybody, I think we have to thank the sailors. 184 teams actually were here on the starting line of the 70th Giraglia. This is what makes the Giraglia such a beautiful event, James, don't you think?
Exactly, yeah. They're the stars of the show. We're just communicating about it.
We're just talking about them. So thank you, everybody. And before going, we'll leave you with the final highlights of this amazing, beautiful regatta. Thank you very much. See you next year.